Welcome to the Invisible to Invincible Summit. I am your hostess, Lynda Sunshine West. I'm the founder of Action Takers Publishing. We publish your books. We publish collaboration books like Invisible No More, Invincible Forevermore, which is really the topic of how this summit came to be, as well as the Fearless Entrepreneurs. We have a book launching February 15th, 2022 called Wellness for Winners. So we have a lot of books in the pipeline, and we'll talk a little bit about that as we go. But how did this summit come to be? I just want to share, the invisible to invincibility. I spent the first 51 years of my life, feeling invisible. I had, I grew up in a very volatile, abusive, alcoholic household. And what that ended up turning into was this young girl who was terrified to speak her mind, terrified to speak up, terrified to say anything, terrified to talk to people. That was how I was. I spent so many years of my life being that person. And I also became a people pleaser. Well, because of the environment I was in, at 5 years old, I made a really brave choice and I decided to run away from home. Now, many of us run away from home and our parents are like, oh, here, don't forget your lunch, right? They pack your lunch for you because they know you're going to be back in an hour or two, or maybe even a couple hours. Well, I was gone for an entire week, gone for a week, because I hated the environment so much. And I knew at 5 years old that this was not the environment for me. So when I say that, I want you to first think about, if you have children, to realize how aware they are right now in their life of what's going on in your household. I was extremely aware. I didn't want to be there. I didn't like the abuse. I didn't like what was going on. And I made a decision to move, Well, I ended up only going to the neighbor's house, but for all intents and purposes, I was gone. I was moving away. And my mom knew where I was, but I didn't know she knew where I was. So I want you to imagine you're 5 years old, you ran away, you're at your friend's house, and nobody comes to get you. What ended up happening to me, and I didn't realize it at the time, I didn't realize this until much later in life, but what ended up happening is the fact that nobody came to get me. My 5-year-old little brain, what it started thinking was that nobody wants me. Nobody loves me. Nobody wants me around. Oh my gosh, I was right. They don't love me. That's what I started believing in my mind. And so what ended up happening is that strong, brave, 5-year-old little girl who ran away, when I came home, because my mom brought me home after a week, she called the neighbor and she said, Linda's been gone long enough. You can send her home now. I only know this because my mom told me later, she told me a few years ago. And, I was thinking about how when I came home, that's really when my life shifted. I didn't really know it at the time, what was going on and how it was going to affect my future. But as I look back, I realize how it did affect my future. It caused me to be riddled with fear from my dad. And that fear that I had of my dad translated into other areas of my life. Teachers, students, friends, family. I just had a lot of fears. So as I made my way through this journey called life, and I had all these fears, scared to talk to people, scared to start relationships, I just had so many fears. In 2015, fast forward 51 years old, I was driving to work one day. I was working for a judge in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. I had had my 49th job in 36 years. As I look back, I'm like, I was always running away. I was always running away. However, I now choose to see it differently, and I'll share that in just a minute. But as I was driving to work that day, my 49th job, working for a judge in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, I had made it. I was a legal secretary and I had made it. I was working for the number 2 judge in the entire Ninth Circuit. And that was amazing that I got that job. But I hated it. Absolutely hated my job. I was like, all I do is push papers around all day long for a judge. That's all I do. And I was really like a glorified travel agent because he traveled 260 days of the year. So I was constantly booking travel all over the world with visas and all that stuff. So as I was driving to work that day, I was just looking like, I was stuck in this traffic, right? And I was just looking up into the heavens and saying, what the heck is this all about? What is this planet all about? What is my life all about? Why am I here? I serve no purpose. I have no value. I have no purpose for being here. And what was interesting is when I got to work that day, my answer came. Oftentimes when we ask ourselves questions, our answers come. And my answer was in the form of a life coach. Again, I'm 51 years old on my 49th job after working in the corporate world for 36 years. And I met a life coach. I didn't even know what that was, but I met this life coach. She was in a Facebook group and she said, I'm a life coach. I took some time off. I'm getting back into it. And I'm looking for 5 women who want to change their lives. And I was like, I'm in, I am in. I raised my hand and I said, I don't know what this is all about. I don't know where this is going to take me, what's going to happen, but I'm in. I made that decision, that conscious decision right in that moment that I was going to do this, whatever this was. I didn't even know. So I ended up hiring that life coach and I worked with her for 5 months at the end of 2014. And that 5 months was truly, truly that transformation that I needed in order to make this shift from invisibility to invincibility. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how I was going to get there. I didn't know even that I was going to become feeling invincible, but that's what happened. So I worked with that life coach for 5 months and I was there. I showed up every single week for our calls. I did every single piece of homework that she gave me because I wanted an A+. I wanted to do my best. I had invested in myself for the first time in my life. I invested money for myself. I had never done that. I'd always taken care of everybody else. So as I worked with her and I changed on a weekly basis, it really changed on a weekly basis. And I know this because people reached out to me and they said, oh my God, you're so different this week than you were last week. So I know that I was changing. Now I didn't feel it myself because I was on a mission to do something different. So it was really awesome that at the end of that 5 months, I worked with her and I had done so many things that I would never have done before. And that was that was November of 2014. So December of 2014, I'm by myself, I'm doing my own thing, and I don't have my life coach. And I learned a lot of things from her, which was awesome. And I was applying those things to my life in December, but I wasn't making the growth. I wasn't making the change that I had made that past 5 months. So I decided on January 1st of 2015, I woke up that morning and I said, I want to keep going. I want to keep going. I want to keep changing and changing my life and becoming this different person, which I don't know who it is, but I want to become that person, whoever I'm meant to be. And so I said, you know what? I've got a lot of fears. I'm going to face one fear every single day this year. And that's what I did. 2015, I'm 51 years old, and I decided to face one fear every day and break through it. So what this looked like is every morning as I woke up, didn't even get out of bed, opened my eyes, and I would say out loud, my husband thought I was a little crazy, but that's okay. He got used to it. I would say out loud, what scares me? And then I would lay in bed and I would wait. I would wait for that first fear to pop in my mind. I didn't have this planned out. There was no agenda. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, I want to break through fears and I'm going to do this. There was no handbook for it. How many people do you know that spent a year breaking through a fear every single day? You probably don't know very many, if any. Well, I'm your first then. So by doing that process, oh my gosh, talk about unfolding, talk about stepping into, like we hear about, step into your greatness, step into your brilliance. Talk about doing that, breaking through a fear every single day for a year, you're bound to make that happen. So there's so many different things that I discovered during that year. I actually wrote a book about it called The Year of Fears, the 7 most important lessons I learned that will save you time and money. It's endorsed by Les Brown, international motivational speaker, which is so exciting because that again was part of my process, part of the journey that I've taken to step into this who I am, this invincibility. right? This person. So while I'm breaking through those fears every single day, I came up with some realizations. And that one of them I want to share with you today is that fear, like, even though some people will say, get over it, why are you scared? Why are you letting that scare you? Why are you letting that stop you? They don't understand that what you are going through is as real can be for you. It is as real can be for you. And so I'm going to give you 7 simple steps to break through fear every single time. If you're ready for that, I would love to hear a heck yeah in the chat there, because we could really use some chatter going on there. So if you're ready to learn how to break through your fear every single time, it's simple steps, 7 simple steps. Awesome. Thank you so much. So let's do it. First of all, I'm going to use an example of one of the situations that really scared me a lot. First of all, networking is one of those, definitely one of those. But I'm going to share with you a different situation, something that I was so bad at because of my fear. So sometimes we'll say things like, I'm no good at that. I don't want to do that because I suck. Have you ever had kind of something like that where, I don't want to do that because I'm bad at it. I don't know how to do it, right? Oftentimes that's fear that's chattering in our head. So these 7 simple steps are going to help you to break through that. And I was looking for, actually, I have it right here. I'm going to pull up this little cartoon that I made last night and share it with you, because I was just so proud of myself. That's why. Frankly, that's why I'm going to share it with you, because I was so proud of myself for putting together this little, just goofy little comic strip, talking about these fears. And so this situation is that sales. And I used to say all the time, I can't do sales. I suck at sales. I'm terrible at sales. And it was true. Guess why? Because I would never make a sale. I would never make an offer. I would never get on a call. I worked with a sales coach for, we did 10 sessions, so about 2.5, 3 months. And I would meet with her every single week. And she'd say, at the end of the session, she'd ask me, okay, so how many people are you going to contact this week? Because you got to contact people, right, in order to make sales. And I would say, I'm going to contact 10 people every day. Okay, cool. Awesome. I'd get back to the next week, I'd come to my session and she'd say, so how many people did you reach out to this week? And I said, well, I did this and I had this going on, this was stopping me. And, I got bogged down by this and I was naming all these different excuses as to why I didn't hop on those calls. And at the end of 8 weeks in a row of the same exact pattern, how many people are you going to call this week? 10 a day. Today, I'm really going to do it this time. I'm really going to do it this time. And then at the end of the week, I'd come back. I didn't call anybody. And this was a pattern every single week. If you're experiencing that, I totally get it. I understand it. Well, what I realized, and I came to realize this after breaking through those fears every day, was that I had a tremendous fear of judgment, which is, by the way, the number one fear. There's a saying that most people are more scared to speak on stage than they are of dying. That's not true. That's not true at all. The reality is that people are more scared of the judgment they will get from speaking on stage than they are of dying. That fear of judgment is so real, right? It's so, so real. So as I look back, I'm like, wow, it was that fear of judgment. If I get on the phone and I say something stupid, are they going to see me as stupid? These are things I said to myself. They're going to think I'm ignorant. They're going to think this about me. They're going to think that about me. I had all these ideas of what people were going to think about me if I got on a call with them. So I just stopped myself from getting on a call with them. So this example of we're going to use this example of getting on a call with somebody. Okay. Now you can apply these 7 steps to your personal life, your business life, to your children, to your spouse, to your job, to whatever it is that you have going on in life. These 7 steps are going to help you to break through fear every single time. Now, I developed this process about 3 months into my fears. So I went 3 months without using this process. And I'll tell you what, it was hard to break through those fears, but I did it every day. I was committed. It was a commitment to myself, a commitment to change my life. So we're going to use this example of a sales call, hopping on a sales call. Okay, that's going to be our example. So when I say fill in the blank, right now, we're going to use hopping on a sales call. But I want you to think about something that you know you should do, but you're not doing it. Is it possible that you have a fear around that thing? So I want you to think about right now. I want you to imagine I want you to write it down. You don't have to tell me. Just write it down. You know, that fear. Okay, so let's say it's confronting a friend about something. Let's say it's hopping on a sales call. It's attending a networking event. It's investing some money in yourself. Like you need to hire a virtual assistant, but you're not doing it. Okay, like that blank, like fill in that blank, whatever that blank is. So I'm going to share my screen, and so here's what you're going to do. Is when you're feeling anxious, fearful, scared, embarrassed, uneasy, uncomfortable, any of those emotions that we have, these are actually physical things that are happening in our body. And you'll recognize it because your body will start to go a little weird. It's going a little weird on you. It's just energy. And you need to refocus that energy. And Napoleon Hill talks about sex transmutation in his book, Think and Grow Rich. But we're going to talk about fear and transmuting that fear into another area. So you're just going to ask yourself these 7 simple questions. 7 simple questions, okay? Now, remember, you're going to fill in that blank. So we're going to use my example. Right now, it's if I do blank right now, will it adversely affect my life 1 year from today? Now, here's a couple key things here. You have to, first of all, say this complete sentence. Ideally, you're saying it out loud. Say it out loud as if you're speaking it out into the universe. You're asking this question. If I call this person right now, will it adversely affect my life 1 year from today? Key word here is adversely, which means will it badly affect my life today? The reason that is the key word, because if you leave that word out, if you say, if I call this person right now, will it affect my life 1 year from today? Yes, it can, in a very positive way. What if that person ends up being a lead to 50 clients, to 200 clients? So yes, it can affect your life, and that's what we want. We want it to affect our life in a positive way. But the question is, will it adversely affect my life today, 1 year from today? And your answer most likely, 99.9% of the time will be no. Awesome. It's not going to adversely affect my life 1 year from today. So now you're going to go to the next question, which is an identical question, just a different timeline. And I'll share with you in a minute why we're doing it this way, this specific way. If I call this person today, right now, will it adversely affect my life 6 months from today? And you must say the entire sentence. You don't just say 6 months, like this. You have to say the entire sentence. Your answer to that question will undoubtedly be no. It's going to be 99.9% of the time, no, it will not adversely affect your life. Now we go through this process. If I make this call right now, will it adversely affect my life 1 month from today? Most likely the answer is no to 1 month also. If I call this person right now, will it adversely affect my life 1 week from today? Most likely that also will be no. Now we get down to the nitty gritty here. This is where it gets a little bit interesting. And I found this for myself, that it did get a little bit hairy here. So if I make this call right now, will it adversely affect my life 1 day from today or tomorrow? Will it adversely affect my life tomorrow? The answer might be yes. And that's okay. If the answer is yes, still go through the process. Still go through the process and ask the next questions. If I make this call right now, will it adversely affect my life 1 hour from right now? And it could still be yes. And then the last one, if I make this call right now, will it adversely affect my life right now? Now that might still be yes as well. So now if it's yes in any points of those, here's what you do. You're like, okay, if I make this call right now, will it adversely affect my life tomorrow? Well, it might, or yes, but you know what? Now I'm in a logical state of mind right now because I'm asking myself a question. I'm no longer having that emotion controlling my actions. Instead, I'm in a logical state of mind. And in that logical state of mind, you can say, okay, it may affect me tomorrow, but it's not going to adversely affect me in 1 week. So go do it. Go do it because you're scared. If anybody wants a copy of that download, just let me know, send it to you. But it's really about putting yourself from an emotional, I want you to think about when you've been scared and how your body is like going like this, right? Your stomach's either going like this, maybe your throat is all locked up, or your hands are shaking, your forehead is sweaty. You just have all this it's nervous energy. That's what it is. So how do we rechannel that nervous energy? When I ask myself a question, if I make this phone call right now, will it adversely affect my life 1 year from today? So what's happening? See, the energy is slowing down. And the reason that energy is slowing down is because I'm moving myself into my headspace. Logic. Energy is not logical. It's emotional. I'm moving into logic. So now what's happening is the energy is slowing down and I'm able to think more realistically. So now that because I'm thinking more realistically, I'm able to take an action and move forward. One of the things I learned during that year of fears is that faith erases anxious reactions. Fear. Faith erases anxious reactions. I noticed that when my faith was strong, my fear was weak. And when my fear was strong, my faith was weak. So when I'm experiencing fear, one of the things I do now is I tap into that question of, how strong is my faith right now? Lynda, how strong is your faith right now? Your fear is taking over. So if this format doesn't work of the 7 questions, which it works for me, works for me every time, 100% of the time now. If that doesn't work, check in with your faith. So what I'll do is I'll ask myself, how strong is my faith right now? Faith in 3 things. How strong is my faith in God that He's got my back? How strong is my faith in my support system, people that I know that have my back? And lastly, most importantly, I believe, is how strong is my faith in myself? When our fear is strong, our faith is weak. When we can tap into that faith, it turns everything upside down or upside up. It turns everything upside up. It makes it so that we can believe in ourselves and we can go forward. Take that action to make it happen, whatever that action is. So remember, your faith erases your anxious reactions. I'm hoping that these tips have helped you to be able to move in that state of from invisibility to invincibility. I know that now that, when I experience fears, I still experience fear, even though I went through every single day of facing a fear, breaking through a fear, is that, I still experience it today, but I approach it differently. Nowadays, I do things because I'm scared. Because the results that I got after, every single day of breaking through a fear, the results that I got, even though I didn't become a millionaire and I didn't become famous, that's not what I was looking for. I was just looking for that state of mind to step into and say, you know what, here's who I am. This is what I'm all about. And this is who I want to be. And this is who I'm becoming. So every time I broke through a different fear, it helped me to get closer to that, to move forward. It helped me to become who I am today. For the first time in my life, I love myself. I never loved myself before. That right there made it worth it. Now, you don't have to break through a fear every single day for a year. I'm not recommending that to anybody. I mean, actually, I do recommend it to everybody, but I'm not saying you need to do it. But really looking at those fears and thinking about how you can break through that next fear that you have, taking that step to make it happen. So everybody, I want to thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to share with you a, oh wait, hold on. I have this weird. I'm going to share with you just a really quick video commercial that we had made for our books, publishing company, Action Takers Publishing. And this is our short commercial. I hope you like it. Except I realized I didn't share the volume. I do that on occasion. Let's see. There we go. Okay, hold on. There we go. That's our commercial. I love it. I love seeing it every single time. But thank you so much for, again, for being here at the Invisible to Invincible Summit. And I'm going to stop my recording.